All right, let's get into it. So basically, here's the deal. Every year, I do a video where I outline new things that people who are basically retired or and including disabled can no longer afford as a result of their benefits devaluing from the US dollar, not being worth as much, the cost of living adjustment screwing them over a bit by not giving them as much as they should have, so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. And this has become a cultural revelation for me as a review factor because I've learned so much about how things have evolved year after year as to how Social Security recipients can actually afford the items that they expect and want to be able to afford. So because I've done this each year, some of the things have evolved. You know, some of the things started with like, okay, they couldn't afford the higher end meats, your fillets, stuff like that. Or maybe your specialty cheeses, right? You know, stuff like that. Again, keep in mind, I'm on farm internet up here and the lights are burning my face right now. So with that said, if I seem a little sweaty, it's my glow. It's my glow. With that said, there was like meats, cheeses, stuff like that, that the retired and disabled couldn't afford anymore. And it wasn't traumatic. Wasn't super dramatic, but it keeps getting worse and worse each year. So now, due to the complete mishandling of the United States economy, the items kept growing and growing in value and necessity. Because, like, you know, did they need that super special cheese? Maybe, but not realistically. The new items, due to this collapsed economy setup that we have based on fossil fuel import abuse, are the following. Okay, clothes. There are people coming over the border as immigrants who have newer clothing than many of the disabled people that I interact with that I've won benefits for. I sit there in amazement. They've got holes in their clothing. They've got basically these the lines where this part of it's worn out and stuff. The problem is, there's a lot of investment in immigrants and not a lot of investment in citizens. And we should make those immigrants citizens and tax them because we need those FICA tax dollars. We need them. But I can tell you, I am seeing a lot of my disabled who then become retired not being able to buy newer clothing. And we're not talking off of eBay. We're not talking the stores where they sell the used stuff. I'm talking about brand new from the store, from the mall. They can't afford the clothing anymore. Okay. So, and there's another thing too that really talks about with this, which is that if you go look at the clothing that people are buying in America nowadays, the fabrics have decreased in worth and they've decreased in what they're actually supposed to do with longevity of life. If you go look at the hand, how they feel, you go look at the weight, how heavy they are. We keep producing crappier and crappier products in this country when it comes to clothing, and the clothing is wearing out faster and faster. Next thing, people are now struggling to have any form of any type of insurance, retired and disabled. I mean car insurance, I mean insurance for the belongings that are in the house, I mean general dwelling insurance. I don't know how many disabled, retired, or recipients in general who have any form of insurance anymore other than basically car insurance. Most of these retired people cannot afford home insurance like they used to, and they're dropping it, especially in places like Florida where there's hurricanes. Okay, I'll tell you a little side secret too. In Florida, where my house is, my home insurance went up $1,000 a month total, based through my my mortgage company, which is PennyMac. And the bottom line is, I now pay $1,000 more a month just because of my home insurance on my mortgage to live in the house that used to be $1,000 less a month. Problem. That's a problem. Number 4, one thing disabled people used to say to me is that it's nice to own that one thing. And some of you will really, you'll key in with this. You'll hear this. Whenever it was a one nice thing, it was a car, it was a TV, or a motorcycle, they would say, it was nice to own that one thing. I haven't heard that in over 3-4 years. I haven't. Not once. The last time I heard it was about a kayak for treating his anxiety. And that makes me really sad. because a lot of people with mental impairments can't afford to do that thing that they used to love to do. Now, I'm going to be very straight with you on this, okay? People used to be able to own a little bit of a nicer car, or maybe live in a little bit nicer area, or maybe, have a boat, or maybe have a kayak, or maybe have a horse, or whatever, like that stuff. But now they can't afford it. And that's really traumatic and tragic, because at the end of the day, human happiness in America has dived way down. It is horrifically bad. We don't have really good metrics to measure happiness, but I can assure you, among the disabled and the retired population, it is not good. There is more anxiety among the retired than has ever existed since I have been working in this field. And remember, I own this law firm that I've owned for almost 11 years. September, which we're not too far, June, July, August, September. In September, on the 27th, this law firm will be 11 years old. And then about 6 years before that, I was working in this field and working with other attorneys that basically I interned with. So I've been in this a while. I've been in this field for a good long while. Final note. I think a lot of positive changes are happening with Social Security benefits because of Commissioner Martin O'Malley. I want to give him some applause here. I think also, to be fair, whether Republicans or Democrats, get in, after this whole Trump-Biden battle is over, Commissioner Martin O'Malley, he is someone that I would suggest you take a look at for the next 4 years after the whole Biden-Trump thing. Here is my reasoning for this. We have never had a presidential hopeful, a presidential candidate who made their bones in Social Security. Nobody gave a bleep about SSA potential applicants for the presidency. So we have never had someone try this hard in that executive position to make things better for everyone. Instead, we have had hard work, but it was more anti-claimant results, which we don't want. We want pro-claimant results. My point being, I'm going to quote someone here. There are a lot of people in Congress who want to be part of the Social Security solution. You might actually remember this quote. He came on the channel and did a video. So I'm not going to screw up the quote. Let me do it again. Okay. There are a lot of people in Congress who want to be part of the Social Security solution, but most of them have no idea how the program actually works. Biden got lucky that someone gave him a path to a better SSA, and that's Commissioner Martin O'Malley. Trump doesn't have someone on his lineup, but rather his approach is just, we'll fix the economy, and that'll fix the tax problem, and that'll fix, paying enough FICA taxes to pay for the system. So Trump doesn't have a golden boy, a golden girl who could potentially fix the Social Security system. So with this idea, one thing to consider, we got to stop thinking about what's happening right now and start asking ourselves, what did it take for us to get here? That's my favorite game. Now that I'm getting older, that's like my favorite. I'm approaching 40. I got to find somebody, marry them fast, like yesterday, But bottom line is, we're getting closer to this, how the hell did we get to this spot? And I love playing that game. Where were we 2 years ago on this? Where were we 4 years ago on this? Where were we 10 years ago on this? What was the road? What decisions got us right here? I would do that with legal claims while studying for law school exams. It was my secret weapon to being successful with answering questions. I would say, what got the plaintiff to here? I would sit back, I'd close my eyes and imagine the fights with the spouse, the bad legal contract at work that they signed, the missed deadlines that they had. How did we get here? How did that plaintiff get sued or make a suit? How did they get to this situation where it wasn't going well? Is here right now salvageable? Is here the right direction? You'll note I have made a video about what the Social Security recipients can now afford, because even the cheap products are expensive and inflation is no joke. My point with this is we need to stop having this negative affair, if you will, with looking down on the retired as people milking the system, looking down on the disabled as people milking the system. We have to educate our kids to appreciate the social system that we have. Look, socialism across the board, like Sweden, Norway, stuff like that, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. The people who argue vote blue because it's Democrat and democracy, that doesn't tell you anything. You can't define democracy by just voting. That's not how it works. Okay. Voting red for capitalism. What parts of capitalism? Who are you going to support? What are the taxes going to be like? How's that going to work? The point is, we need to educate kids in the future as to why some form of a small amount of socialism is a good idea. You know who I think understood socialism better than a lot of people? Somebody who basically was super anti-it, but then voted through the most socialism-based law I've ever seen in my life. Well, actually, it was technically before I was born. It was before I was born, just before I was born. The amazing thing is, a guy who fought socialism left and right, Nixon, and we can all agree he had some negative stuff about him. That guy then passes through SSI benefits, which pays immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, 7 years plus 2 year up, SSI benefits, pays disabled people who didn't pay enough, SSI benefits, pays people over 65 who didn't pay enough to retirement, SSI benefits. He voted in what I would consider the greatest financial draw on our country. He voted in the greatest socialism that ever existed in America. That's weird, right? That's so weird. Because you'd be like, Nixon hates socialism, but then he votes in the most socialism program that we've ever had. Greatest financial pull on the American people. The thing that costs the American person when they go to the grocery store the most money is that SSI. Puts through the most socialism-based program that I've ever seen, at least related to Social Security benefits. So my point is, Title 16, by the way, if you want to look it up. My point is, okay, we need to teach our kids why a portion of socialism is a good idea. And Nixon got it. For somebody who was so anti-socialism, he got it. If you don't have enough money put aside for those who paid into the system, you end up with what we have right now. If you don't have enough money put aside for people who have no intention of working, who just got to this country and need to basically get rolling in the right direction, who basically are too old and can't have enough time to pay into the system or were disabled before they reached 65, you got to pay for them. Because humans who have nothing, that is a very bad thing for capitalism. And Nixon got it. The man got it. People don't give him credit for that. People do not give him, but if you study him and how he changed over time, the man actually got that having super poor people, right? Having people who have hardly anything, what we're doing to retired people right now, what we're doing to disabled people right now, what we're doing to survivors right now. If we go ahead and give them hardly anything, they will go out and cause crime. And when crimes happen to the people who pay into the system fails quickly. Let me give you an example. If you have somebody that works in a movie theater, a crime happens to them and they can't work anymore, the system fails. If you have somebody who owns a small business, crime happens to them, right? Let's say we're in New York City, LA, San Francisco, right? Seattle, one of these high crime areas, right? Something happens to them, it's over. That's it. It's done. That small business now has to figure out a new way to exist, and the passion of that person in that field for that small business, it's gone. It's gone. You've lost the rest of their working capacity life to lead that corporation to make fundamental benefits on the future economy of America. You've lost it. And Nixon got that. He got that you have to have enough money put aside for people that don't fit into capitalism. There's always going to be a percentage of people that are not intending to work. People attack them and say they're lazy. People attack them and say that they're useless. People attack them and use all these phrases. You can call them whatever you want, but they're people who don't want to work, have no intention of working, and are not going to work. But if you don't pay for them to at least exist on the very base level, they will commit crimes and take from the people that are adding to the bottom line. And Nixon got that, which is why the most social system person out there votes through the most socialism that we've ever seen. I think what's important to realize about this system, and I think what's important to keep in mind, is that we have to understand that there are different categories of people who are either never going to work or need a ramp-up period. Immigrants coming into this country. Obviously, this administration, this White House, is de facto the worst in the history of America when it comes to immigration. It's the worst. It's the worst we've ever had, right? And it's because there were so many. There's now more immigrants that have come across that border, right, improperly, than there are Social Security, disability insurance, regular disability recipients. Let me just say it again. There are more people who came across that border illegally than there are disabled people receiving a disability check in this nation. What do we do with all of them? We want them to work. Is their culture about working? I think we need to have our academia system have something that teaches people why Social Security benefits are so important and why these people should be respected. Remember how we used to have like these classes where they'd be like, respect your elders, respect your elders, respect your elders, treat disabled people with kindness. They don't have that stuff anymore. I mean, they have little things here and there, but you know what I mean? They don't go through why we pay these taxes, why we have this system, what our constitutional rights and requirements are, and how the Constitution protects. We don't go through any of that stuff. Like civics, hey, it's gone. So I hope you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from with this. Please remember that if you like this channel, if it opens your eyes to things, please remember to like and subscribe. One of the big things I love seeing is when you go on Google, you go to disability resolution on Google and leave some review up there, put the stars up there. I will catch you all a little bit later. Please remember on Tuesday and Thursday I go live. I couldn't this week because I had bad internet, and we're really trying to get it fixed. Just so you know what's involved with the internet, my Starlink is not able to provide enough proper internet. So I have to get a company to run an actual cable up to the top of the farm, which is a half a mile from the nearest road that has that cable, which means after this video, I have to do a couple of phone calls. Then I have to go out there with a chainsaw, and I have to basically knock down all the stuff that's under these electrical poles to allow and create a road to allow them to install this cable, which is going to be extremely expensive, just so you're aware. So if you're wondering why I'm poor next month, that's probably why. I don't know how much the cable's going to cost. And there's only really one cable company in this area because it's all farmland. And farmers, they're not big on internet. You know, the phone internet's just fine for them. So anyways, I hope you have an incredible, wonderful weekend. I will be back for more videos this weekend, and we'll go from there. Attorney Walter Hnot, I'm signing off now, but please remember to take care of yourself. And let's continue to bolster and increase the pro-claimant rights for Social Security benefits going forward, because I will become a goddamn politician to break this government if they continue to go down this road. I'll do it. I have no problem with it. I'm one of the most educated people in the news related to statistics when it comes to this stuff. And I've been practicing in it as a person doing it for over a decade, including working for other law firms. I'm a very, very dangerous person to these politicians. So I will catch you a little bit later. You have a wonderful night, and we'll go from there. Attorney Walter Hnot, thank you. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.